Welcome to another episode of the Larry Ohh Show. Got my co-host with me again, as always.
What's going on? It's John Phelps.
And I'm Larry Ohh. This is a podcast about FL Studio and everything music production related, which is why we have some big news in today's episode, some big producer world, producer community news. Before we get into the big, massive producer world news, just want to say thank you. And if you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe. And then we're doing a giveaway again, like we do every single week, giving away every single one of my production courses. To enter that giveaway, you're going to comment the keyword, the key phrase in the comment section here on YouTube. But yeah, the big producer world news is Cymatics bought Producergrind, which is a huge shock.
Long time friends of the show.
Yeah. Long time on both sides. Producergrind with Dylan and Steven from Cymatics. Friendly with both of them. I did a Cymatics podcast when I first started creating like producer content. Ended up going on their podcast at Cymatics, did Producergrind's podcast around 2020-ish, did a virtual podcast with them. Always a huge fan of both of their content. I modeled a lot of my content off of both of them, honestly. To be honest, like both companies, huge motivation and inspiration for me personally, and as well as a ton of other producers, millions of other producers.
I got a few
even
of those
directly
Cymatics
or
packs,
directly or indirectly. You might not even know
joints, all that. Yeah.
The rumors are true. Cymatics buys Producergrind, which before we hop into it, Producergrind started the craziest, I think, best music producer podcast I've ever seen. They really kind of just started that whole thing out. To really just like hyper focus on the producer community itself. The interviews, top notch producers on there.
Right.
Again, things that I've modeled off of Producergrind.
100%.
One of the main reasons why I wanted to do a podcast here, which is like Help Me Devon podcast, the Producergind podcast, the Cymatics podcast, like you name it, like all those things help motivate me and help, get to this point where I'm at with my content and the podcast. So huge shout out to all these brands and companies. Yeah, I mean, huge news though. Cymatics buys. Steven from Cymatics buys Producergrind. He put up a video. If you're not familiar with the video, I'll play it. We'll kind of like react to it, go back and forth, give some opinions. But I just wanted to like put this up here just in case you haven't heard about it. It's been a little over a week now at this point when this podcast drops. It's where if you haven't heard about it, you're not watching close enough. But yeah, let's get into it. I might play it at high speed. We'll see. At
first, I wasn't sure if I wanted to even make this announcement or be public about this whole situation. But, recently kind of just decided really there isn't really any downside. Plus, like the excitement with our team is just kind of going crazy. So I just have to, I'm going to say it. All right. All right, guys. So I've officially been running Cymatics now for almost 9 years. And we've done a lot of great stuff at Cymatics and seen a lot of other really cool stuff in the industry. We've seen other companies do a lot of cool stuff with samples, plugins, just people killing it in all their different types of ways. And one of those companies that I always thought did a really great job at providing value to the producer community was actually Producergrind. Just what they've done with the podcast was just taken to a whole different level from anything that anybody else in the music industry.
That's Dylan right there. If you don't know who Dylan is, Dylan's back there.
You guys ever seen? I mean, to be honest with you, when I did the Cymatics show back in...
But for the ones that don't know, Dylan is or was the owner of Producergrind before Cymatics.
In the day, trying to grow that podcast, I was just modeling it after Producergrind.
That's the podcast that I was on in that very room right there.
To mention, they were the first ones to do these industry cookups, having all these big industry producers coming in doing cookups. And from a media perspective, they were clearly blowing it out of the water. And I was always impressed with what they were doing over at Producergrind. And honestly, the story kind of starts with, I started chilling with TB a lot because it turns out he lives like 10 minutes from me. We started playing basketball together, hanging out. He came on a few Cymatics videos. And as I started meeting the Producergrind team more and more, I realized how much potential there was with this brand and how much talent they had. So I started talking with Dylan, the founder, and I just became pretty interested in the business as a whole. I thought it was really cool. And up until then, I had never really used Producergrind sample packs or any of their products or anything like that, but I had actually got the chance to work with a lot of their sound designers and start meeting a lot of the guys in their team. And honestly, I was very impressed. And even on their podcast, they've had guys like Metro Boomin, Timbaland, Boy Wonder, Sonny Digital. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's clear that the level of connections that Producergrind had, the amount of industry connections, the different types of people they're working with, not to mention a lot of their sound designers who are essentially dominating Atlanta, they had a lot of value there. So after months and months of working out the details, talking about how it would work, coming up with a game plan for the business, we finally decided to go through with it, and we have actually acquired Producergrind. Fun fact, I didn't plan anything in this video. I just wanted to kind of make this announcement. And the reason I'm so excited is that there was a little time period where Producergrind wasn't releasing podcasts anymore content. And I'm sitting here thinking like, oh my God, I missed the brand, right?
That's the big thing. That's where I think he was like, all right, what's going on here? It seems like things are slowing down at Producergrind, and this brand, this company is a staple in the producer community. Why are they slowing down? What's going on right now? And like he said, he's becoming friendly with TB, which isn't an owner, but he's kind of like the face of Producergrind.
Yeah, he's
in like every piece of content. He runs the interviews pretty much. You know, he's heading those interviews with every big producer name in there. Him and I think the girl's name is Mimi. So they do those interviews together, but it just seems like, he's in every piece of content. He seems like he is the face of Producergrind, whereas Dylan used to be the face, but at a certain point, I don't know when it was. Yeah, he kind of stepped away and didn't want to become didn't want to be the face of Producergrind anymore for whatever reason. I'm not really sure why. I don't know the behind the scenes info on that, but it was evident that, he pulled back, didn't want to become the face. Maybe it was because of a play like this later on, in his career, as far as business wise. And I know that from various interviews and just things that people are saying online right now, it seems like he is more of an entrepreneur than a music entrepreneur. He's in different businesses now,
100%. Yeah.
So maybe he was in the business to sell at a certain point when it got to a certain point. And I think that he kind of looked at Steven in a way where he admired his business aspect of things, because he said it in a lot of interviews too. Yeah, he said it in a lot of interviews as well that Dylan got a lot of gems from Steven as far as business went. So I think he might have like looked up to Steven in a sense as far as business goes. Yeah. And then kind of saw it going in that direction at a certain point. And maybe when he pulled back, he's like,
It totally makes sense because, Cymatics has been out and about on people's radar for, 9 years or whatever. Like he said, it got started pretty quickly, and I did a little bit of homework on the whole thing, and it makes a lot of sense because you have a company that has a lot of packs out there and people are using them like crazy. He says in the interview, I never really used their packs, but their interviews were popping and their access to sound designers was what we needed. So without like dispelling too much information, because it is like a real topic going on, it's almost just like if Cymatics can benefit off of like really good relationships with great sound designers and have a fucking bomb ass media platform, it solves the issue of, knowing where your production tools are coming from, how you're designing your suites. And then on top of that, it solves the issue of like, how do you, a company that's been killing it for so long in one way, how does it take it to the next level? Podcast content, producer content, like with like Metro Boomin, with Take Keith or whoever.
It's what I mean? It's really no different than what other companies do.
It's a masterful thing to do.
If you look at gyms, look at another niche, right? Look at gyms and fitness. Look at if there's these small mom and pop gyms around. I mean, that's capitalism. This is why you can make any business, create any business, and do almost whatever you want in this country, is because of the way this whole system is in place. You can agree with it, you can disagree with it, but it's the way America is. It's just the way it is. It's the way business is. And I think from the comments that I've seen, it's people are kind of 50-50 on it. Some people like it, some people don't like it. But at the end of the day, it is the way business is done in America.
Right.
And
you got bills.
It is.
We got people got bills, and you got things to take care of, and
he is doing and providing another service where he's like, all right, if Producergrind isn't going to do anything, I'm going to help it do something and keep doing what it does and build that legacy even more.
For sure, man.
You know what I mean? So in that aspect, he's providing a good service to the producer community. You can agree with Cymatics, you can disagree with that whole thing, but I think we can all agree on the one thing that, I guess we'll have to see. Right? But I like it in the fact that the Producergind podcasts are going to keep rolling.
And here's why I fucking love it. because in this video alone,
Mhm.
you can watch Steven's interview on Producergrind
Mhm.
and compare the production value side by side.
Mhm.
In this 4-minute video,
Yeah.
Steven's got good lighting, good microphone, sounds good. It's edited together very
Yep.
well. If you look at his interview on Producergrind, they didn't have production even like this.
And come to find out, it
and
was
he's
because
gonna do this.
yeah, and come to find out, and I just learned this. I think it was from a live
Incredible.
stream, but TB was doing a lot of that himself.
Yeah,
he had to come up with the
100%.
questions. So just that alone, that's why TB stands by this decision so much too, because he's like, we're gonna have a budget. We're gonna have,
Right.
or we're gonna have more of a budget to do this. It's gonna take some work off my back. I can still do what I like to do. I can still make content. I can just do it in an easier way.
Come on.
And a less stressful way.
Win.
You know,
That's
and
a
honestly,
win.
it's going to get better. In
Yes.
my opinion, this is me predicting the future, but I think it's going to get better because he can
Easily.
really focus on the interviews. He can focus on the
Easily.
content and the relationships.
Yeah, the Producergrind brand is so strong. Everything from its symbol to like the potentiality of it, like to have those highs and to have that watermark
And the merch.
and keep that up.
Think
Come
about the
on.
merch, the
Yeah.
Producer Grind merch.
Yeah.
I love those hoodies. The
Yeah.
Beatmaker and Hitmaker hoodies that I have in the
Right.
shirts. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Identify the strengths of the people around you so that way you can work in a reciprocal manner. You know, people, I think a lot of times people get misconstrued when somebody like Steven's being like super fucking transparent about what he's doing, what he's thinking, and why he's making the move that he is. But they're just like, oh, this is like whatever. Like there's some really shitty takes out there about like what what that is. But it's like, bro's managing, I don't know, like millions of dollars or something. Like you gotta be calculated and aware of why you're doing what you're doing.
Yep.
And that's a lesson for y'all.
Yep. Let's keep it rolling.
When they were dropping that stuff, and that was kind of one of my big first initiatives is like, let's get this podcast going as hardcore as possible.
Right there.
So I started
Right
working
there,
with
man.
Mimi and TB, who are two incredible team members over there, and we got the podcast up and running. Not to mention we had taken every single of their best loop maker, their best sound designer, and started working on a new project called Trap Genesis, where some of the Cymatics producers also have been kind of collaborating with them on, and we're super excited. But in general, I'm fucking pumped about the brand, guys, because Cymatics is great because it encompasses all the different genres, right? Like we have EDM sound designers on our team, people doing, everything from lo-fi to trap, hip hop and stuff. But it's really cool because Producergrind gives us a chance to really
Another reason why this is pretty cool is because the backstory. I mean, Cymatics has been around, like he said, 9 years. When I first got introduced to Cymatics, it was because I was doing a little bit of EDM stuff mixed with the Peter Piffin project that I was doing. It was like he really got me into EDM. So when I'm diving into EDM, I'm like, listen, all right, I got to look up some sounds. I got to see how people are making this kind of music. I stumbled upon Cymatics back then,
man.
and they were heavy in the EDM scene. And then at some point they started to make a transition into the hip hop scene. So I think that's kind of like what he's saying right now, like indirectly, is like, we came in, we wanted to do the hip hop thing. Producergrind was doing the hip hop thing hard. You know what I mean? And now, that's just another plus right there. Cause now I feel like he could go in many different directions where he could also like go a little bit back to the EDM side of things. Whereas, if he built such a core fan base on the EDM side of things, now he owns this Cymatics brand and the Producergrind brand, and they can just hit all genres.
Yeah.
Because their brands are just so strong in those genres.
You're gonna have stuff everywhere.
Yep.
Everywhere.
express ourselves fully deep into like the Atlanta hip hop scene, into kind of hardcore trap stuff, and really hyper focus on those types of products, on that type of content, and to provide value for those types of people. We get to go super hardcore into the trap niche, and I'm pretty excited about it. And anyways, there had already been some rumors floating around. I was trying to keep it a secret, and there was a lot of people who kind of started to find out about it. So I just wanted to officially make the announcement myself. And yeah, guys, we are super excited. That podcast is already going at full steam. The cookups are already going at full steam. Me and TB are talking every day to try to make this brand as best as possible.
And it is now at the time of this. If we go,
let's take a look
at the Producergrind page. They've already. So if we go to latest, look at 1 day ago. Here's another the podcast right here.
Yeah,
with Derek Milano, and then there was another one with Cody 8 days ago. So like right around the time of this announcement, they had been working on this one with Cody, which I still got to dive into this one because I know this is going to be a really, really, really good one. with Cody. I've been a huge fan of Cody for years. He's with Internet Money, if you don't know about him.
Oh, okay.
He's like one of their main guys.
Legend.
Over there.
Hell yeah.
Like, he's
Cool.
produced so many hits, and just his content. He started out as a content creator, producer, and did a lot of YouTube stuff. And then from there got hired with Internet Money and just became like, you know, I'm a sensation.
That's cool, man.
And he has a lot of really dope kits. I use a lot of his kits. His drums are like so good.
Come on,
and then,
shouts out Cody.
Yeah, shout out to Cody. I got to dive into this, which everybody else should dive into that. And then look, just in the last, 8 days, 10 days, they've dropped a bunch more content, brand new content.
Yeah.
This podcast, we got another clip from a podcast here, a cook-up video here, and then another. Just yesterday, I didn't even notice this one. Just dropped another full podcast. Wow. So I mean, they are, and he's practicing what he's preaching right now over at Cymatics with Producergrind. Like he's full steam, because there was a time like
put up or shut up. You know what I'm saying? And
if you look at the timeline,
bro. Yeah, look at this.
Look at the timeline. Like the last like real podcast that they put out was actually Go Grizzly. Oh, this was 2 weeks ago. This got put up around this time. So Sunny Digital. So Sunny Digital, and then the Steven one, I think. And then there was a long gap in between certain things. Look at like a couple months in between here.
Yeah.
And then between here and here, look at 6 months. 6 months they had no content whatsoever. So that's when I think Steven was like, all right, listen, what's going on over here?
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys doing anything?
Right.
You know, he was getting friendly with TB, and he was already friendly with Dylan. So I'm sure he was having conversations with Dylan for a long time prior.
Yeah.
But let's finish off this Steven video.
You guys a lot of content from the industry, not to mention the loop makers and the sample makers and the sound designers they had on their team are really talented. So we've come in and we've started working with them on some really great products. We're excited for you guys to play with this. So if you're a hip hop or a trap producer, our first big project is called Trap Genesis. We already do have a beta pack for that, and we are just really excited for what we've done and what we have planned for the brand. And I just want to give a big shout out, because Producergrind now is turning 10 years old this year, and this brand was not built over a short period of time. It's a really great brand who's put out a lot of content. They've done events. They've put out a bunch of great products and stuff. So I'm very excited and honored that I get to kind of sit in the captain seat and take control of this brand, because I wouldn't have got it if I didn't really believe in it. But honestly, I think Producergrind has provided value to a lot of people in the space. So I'm really excited for what's to come with it. And we have a lot of plans. So anyways, I'm going to ask a question. Who do you guys want to see on the Producergrind podcast? What content do you want to see over there? And what do you guys want to see from Producergrind? If you have any ideas, drop a comment in the description. And hope you guys have an awesome day and are excited about this move as we are. Peace.
Very interesting. I mean, agree, disagree, because there's a lot of buzz going on right now about it. I won't dive into it too crazy, but I think my general thing is, that I've always stuck by is, does it serve the producer community well that Cymatics buys Producergrind? In my opinion, just to keep it really simple, and we can go into, business tactics that, Cymatics has used in the past, and that, which honestly, like, I mean, it's a business. You have to run it a certain way to make money, right? And does the product provide value to that audience? Is the product really good? At the end of the day, that's really all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Is the product good? Does it serve the producer community well?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Cymatics buying Producergrind, that's already, Cymatics has been in the industry for a long time, and they have a really good grasp for business. And I think it's a good move that they bought Producergrind, because I think they're going to keep, like I said, we just looked at the content. It's rolling, and it's back up and running, right?
It's gonna put the pack in the back of Producergrind, like no questions asked. It already has, and on top of that, it's like it's a clear yin and yang reciprocal thing, because you can put the pack into Producergrind and have this outlet for people to learn from the GOATs, and then on top of that, you can build up your own like packs that you want to move yourself, and collaborate through these things, and do the new like Trap Genesis packs and all kinds of stuff that like is going to enforce more value to the, and it's clear where the money's at. Like to keep it a buck, it's like you're getting money from producers that are dialed in with what you're doing, because they know the brands and they respect the brands and love them, and what you're doing is fire. And then on top of that, you got like fucking killer ass interviews where people are gonna love learning from, TM88 or whoever wants to pop in. Sunny Digital is a legend.
Yep. And the content that TB and those guys do over there is just so top notch. I love their content.
Yeah. He's a great personality too. I learned
he really
about
is,
him.
Man. It was a great move when they decided to do that. I think
I learned about him just from just doing a little bit of research, and I was like, this dude is like a really special dude,
Yep.
So it's good that he's continuing to stay in the fold, and he's paying his bills, man. Let's get this money. Ooh,
yep.
Let's get
I like
this money.
I like it. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. I think it's time for key phrase today.
Let's do it.
What do we I mean, why not let's make it Producergrind? Producergrind is the key word for today.
Yeah.
Shout out Producergrind.
Yep.
Shout out everybody in the producer community. So if you're unfamiliar, if you're just like, stumbling upon this this podcast right now, whoever enters the word Producergrind into the comment section here on YouTube will be entered to win every single one of my production courses at youhelpme.com.
Use it in a sentence. Use it in a sentence. You know what I'm saying? Let us know what you think about this by using the word Producergrind in the content.
For real.
In the comment section, run over, drop Producergrind in there. Let us know what you think because this is huge news. And on top of that, you tapped in with the Larry Ohh podcast, man.
But yeah,
get you some master classes.
Just wanted to get that news out there. We keep it short and sweet this week. I think let us know what you think about this in the comments down below. Is it a good move? Is it a bad move? Are we gonna have to wait and see?
Right.
But I think, all in all, I'm excited to see what happens.
I'm super excited. I mean, just based on the excitement that I saw in the video, like Steven's ready, and I've had like minute conversations with him just like on our trips to New York and like, just that whole thing. But I've gotten familiar with
I forgot about that.
And he doesn't play about what he's into. So I feel like it's in good hands. And he's nuts, you know what I mean? He's gonna make it fly though. I'll tell you that,
Yep. When it comes to business, definitely. Like,
come on, man.
That's his passion.
Yeah,
for sure. And
savage mode.
And not to go crazy because I want to wrap it up, but like I think that's where people look at it like, oh, like he's not in the music because he's in the business. I mean,
how good are you at business?
I think it's just good that like he does provide value. I think that's really at the end of the day, like he puts out a good product. And I think, at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Everything is collaboration. Everything is collaboration. Like if the producers out there, how good are you at business? Find somebody who's good at business. Like especially when it comes down to like, doing stuff that is going to like make you able to keep making beats for a living.
Also, here's one thing.
You know what I'm saying?
Here's one thing. Do you go, all right, so
do your research.
Where do you buy your groceries?
Me?
Yeah.
Depends, yo. It depends on where I'm going.
Just name
what I'm
one
trying
spot.
To get. I'll do Eastside Market.
All right, Eastside Market.
Yeah.
Do you care what the CEO of Eastside Market, where he shops? And do you care that he doesn't know how to slice a piece of deli meat? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Do you care that he doesn't know how to stock shelves or he doesn't stock shelves?
Yeah.
Do you care about that?
No.
No, you fucking buy it anyway.
If my broccoli's fresh, you know what I'm saying?
That's all you care about.
If I got green beans that are fresh,
that's all you care about.
Produce is good. I'm happy with
the prices aren't the prices aren't like ridiculous where everything is ridiculous right now, but like you don't care like if the prices are decent, the quality is good.
Yeah.
The food is good.
Right.
It's fresh.
Right.
That's all I care about.
Come on,
I don't care that the CEO doesn't know how to bag my groceries or has never bagged my groceries.
Right.
I don't care that the CEO has never rung a customer out at the cash register. I don't care.
I think for people, it's just like tied to this idea of like, you got to be, to do this, you got to be true to this type shit.
Yeah.
And, there's a place for that, I guess. But at the same time,
He's been in the music. He's been in the music.
Yeah.
Like, is he going to say, like, I can sit back and say, I'm not like the greatest producer ever. You know what I'm saying? But I'll put out content.
Right.
I'll talk about FL Studio. I'll make some cook-up videos that people might think are trash.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's a
I'm
good
still
point.
going to do it.
Like, at what level would you have to be a professional in order to have an opinion or to be able to like
or to run a
manage
business
something?
or to run a music business,
right?
A sample pack company,
right?
At what point, what level of producer does he have to be accepted as a business owner? You know what I'm saying? Like,
if somebody knows what they like and knows what they dislike, then I trust them more to like make business decisions than somebody who's like blinded by maybe this is the best snare. I EQ'd it for 12 hours.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I trust the dude who can keep it a buck and keep it like, realistic. You know what I'm saying? So don't get too in the reeds with somebody's like credentials as a producer. It's like, bro, maybe the reason he's so good at what he does is because that's what he focused his 10,000 hours on.
No, it is. Yeah, it is. You can see it. It's
I mean, like
business.
maybe.
Yep.
maybe there's that. So it's cool. I mean, I have my own like I wouldn't even say opinion because this is all news to me.
Mm-hmm.
I have my own like experience just seeing what I like Googled. And I was like, yeah, this totally makes sense. To me, what is anything in business but like collaborations between like the best of the best?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's what you should want.
Yep.
So I fuck with it. I think it's a great move. And I'm happy that he's like keeping the talent, like, namely TB. Shouts out to TB because again, just like,
and shout out to whoever like the behind the scenes sound designers are too. That he's also like taking on and giving even more work to because it's just a wild
I'm gonna be
guess, but like they're gonna probably getting more work now because whoever was sound designing for Producergrind is probably now going to be sound designing a little bit for Cymatics in a sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Might be
the demand is going to be higher.
Yep.
Naturally.
Yep.
So I'm stoked for that, and I'm like excited for the like I don't know the developments. I guess like how are you gonna like how are you gonna continue to kill this? You know what
I'm curious to see. Let us know what you think in the comments. And again, if you haven't already, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and as always, share this with a friend if you get me.